TalkLinked
TalkLinked
is alive?
What are we? I've been on one of these.
You've already been on one, but that was
one.
back in 2020, I think.
Was that 2020 or was that like before then? Because like, what was that about?
Oh, you were probably on in 2019. It's been a while, but now we have this wonderful podcast set.
Yeah.
And so we might as well, I thought we might as well get in here and start talking about tech news, baby. We're here on TalkLinked to talk about a number of different rumors and information that has come out concerning NVIDIA's next-gen RTX 40 series cards. And most of the information is coming from a leaker on Twitter called Copite7Kimmy.
It could be Copite.
Copite. They are known for providing pretty accurate information. They correctly predicted the specs, I believe, of the RTX 3090, and they've kind of like telegraphed some launches in the past. But the tweet in question is this tweet that they posted. When was it? Yesterday? Yeah, May 16th.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you with our fancy new setup.
Ooh.
Look at that. Mid-July. You're the video card guy here at LMG LTT. That's how I say it every time. Were you expecting NVIDIA to launch the RTX 40 series this early? Well, and it's a rumor. We don't know that they're doing it, but
it is a rumor. However, honestly, at first, no. But then Intel's Arc kind of got delayed to Q2, and I think NVIDIA's like, hey, we can probably push it ahead so that we can get out ahead of that.
Is that the reason you think?
I don't think so.
Because Intel, I don't know what they're doing with their whole launch. Yeah, it's very confusing because
technically it's already out in Korea in laptops.
Right. So
first it's going to come out in mobile, and then there's going to be like system integrators for desktops that are going to get cards. Technically, there are already also cards available.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but apparently the dedicated GPUs like the A3 through A7 series are supposedly going to come out in China at the end of Q2.
Which is interesting that they're launching first in China and then giving it to the rest of us?
Well, apparently there's a reason for launching it first in China, and that's because it's where all of the like the board level component manufacturers are. It can be a bit of a beta program, as well as being I guess a low cost way of like feeling what the market is going to actually want. They say that China has a very hungry appetite for entry-level graphics cards right now. And that's kind of the target that they're going for with the first GPUs that are launching.
Yeah, they're not going for a high-end thing. I think what we're looking at is I think 3070 is about the ballpark where the top-end graphics card is going to hit. Let's go back to RTX 4090 specs.
4090.
Because a big part of why people are hyped about these rumors is that this Copite person indicated that the performance of the RTX 4090 might be double that of the 3090. That seems crazy to me off the top of the I don't really believe that.
Looking at the specs alone, so the 3090, you've got a little graph here that I'm looking at.
Do you want to show it?
I mean, sure, why not? It's just in our notes. You've got a little graph here for the 4090 and 3090 Ti. I guess this is taken from, video cards.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, this is from PC Gamer, but...
From this graph?
Yep.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's like a PC Gamer article about the same thing. It's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's usually second source stuff.
Yeah.
No shade thrown at video cards, but they do usually just report on stuff other people report on, just like we're doing right now.
Hey!
Just looking at these specs, obviously I don't know what the clock speeds are, but for the same TDP with higher core count, because the RTX 3090 doesn't have, the 3090 Ti doesn't have that much more CUDA cores than the 3090 does. That's why it was kind of an iffy upgrade. Yeah, 10496 for the RTX 3090 versus 10752 for the 3090 Ti.
Right, that's a little bump.
This is a very small bump. The most bump comes from the clock speed increase. Plus, I think the GDDR6X is a little bit faster.
Right.
So, with that in mind, unless they're doing some significant architectural changes under the hood, which I do believe they have been rumored to do.
Yes, we can talk about that.
I don't see how they're going to get double the performance.
There were some rumors and news articles and stuff written in the past few weeks about Lovelace as an architecture and how originally, here's a PC Gamer article from 18 days ago. NVIDIA's next-gen GPU Ada Lovelace is no longer a simple Ampere refresh, rumors suggest. So I guess originally NVIDIA was kind of sitting on their laurels, and they're just like, hey, things are going fine. We have no problem selling GPUs right now.
Yeah, like an RTX 2000 series kind of approach, where it's like, yeah, we don't need to push the performance, really. We'll just, give it something new and up the price, and people will buy it, because why not? And then the 2000 series kind of flopped because the demand for the crypto at the time crashed at around the same time. They had like 100,000 GTX 10 series GPUs they couldn't sell.
Oh,
yeah. So it was actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's going to be kind of the same thing.
Right.
So I'm wondering if like the original plan was, okay, so we're riding high on this wave right now. Let's be a little bit conservative about what we release next gen, so we don't have to, worry about catching up or scrambling to recoup our losses once, this demand ceases, which by all accounts it seems to have.
Right. I mean, I got another link here talking about how the crypto crash that is currently underway. I thought that was interesting that you mentioned that happened with the 10 series, because I forgot. I mean, I haven't really paid super close attention to the crypto market.
Yeah, I'm not a crypto bro.
Right. But there are people on Reddit Hardware, the subreddit, who are paying attention to this stuff, and like on Reddit in general. Yeah, they seem to think that because of this crypto crash, combined with the fact that GPU mining for cryptocurrency is on the decline, Ethereum has said they're going to switch to proof of stake for a long time.
That, yeah.
But it's going to happen at some point, I'm assuming. Maybe. This person says that they have been through several crypto crashes, and we're entering one now, and they're saying, prepare yourself for a glut of GPUs to enter the market.
Oh, absolutely.
You think that's happening? Even though you're like, people are still going to mine.
Well, I'm seeing people bailing. If people bail too hard, then it'll crash even harder, and more people will bail, and it'll just keep rolling into a giant snowball down the hill, kind of that situation,
and crush the town.
Crush
Bitcoin City at the base of the volcano in El Salvador.
Crush Cryptoland. So what the upshot of all of this is that the used graphics card market is going to start to have a flood of current generation GPUs come out at basically seriously discounted prices.
Because they'll be used, yeah.
Because they're used. With that in mind, I think that NVIDIA's like, oh crap, we can't actually just do another RTX 20 series because our investors are just going to eat us alive, right?
And by another RTX 20 series, you mean just kind of like have a little spec bump, like little performance bump, not really huge?
A very minor performance bump with a new feature or something, and then charged like a performance tier above for the same performance tier as last generation kind of thing. So like the RTX 2080 Ti was basically like the 2080 was basically like a 1080 Ti, but it was priced like a 1080 Ti. So with the 1080, when the 1080 Ti was starting to be discounted because the new series was out, people were buying 1080 Ti's.
Right, because they're like, it's still a great GPU. Sense. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So they want to avoid that kind of situation again. I don't think they expected the crypto crash to happen quite so precipitously. But I think that made them perhaps accelerate their plans to get it out the door.
So now we're going to kind of take a step back as a market to the time when these video cards released, but pretend that they were all actually available and you can get the card that you want.
Yeah.
Now NVIDIA's like, okay, wait, don't buy those cards. We have better ones.
You don't want those now. Yeah, so I think probably what it was going to be initially was going to be a refresh, thinking that the crypto thing was going to continue for a little bit longer, or at least not crash as hard as it is. But with the writing on the wall, I think that accelerated their plans for the next generation of GPUs, which is why the RTX 3090 came out of nowhere. Sorry, not RTX 3090 Ti came out of nowhere with specs nobody was asking for, because it's actually been speculated that the 3090 Ti was a trial run for the RTX 40 series.
Oh, in what way?
It seems to be the same board design as the 3090 Ti. There's additional power delivery that's not necessary for the 3090 Ti, but is necessary for the 4090. So,
and how do you know that it's necessary for that? Did you look at those heatsink leaks, or what are you basing this on?
Well, that's what I've been reading.
Okay,
those are the leaks that the analysis of the leaks that I've read. So like people looking at the leaked PCB design or cooler like heatsink design.
Because we did get just today actually. There's a article about the leaked 4090 Ti graphics card cooler. I mean, it's an alleged thing, so we don't know if that's actually what we're looking at. But on the Chip Hell forums, which is like a Chinese enthusiast PC site, we got pictures. But the big takeaway that I saw people talking about here is the fact that the base plate here looks like it's supposed to cover both the GPU and the memory dies, which is not what they normally do. Is that true, or what do you think? Usually,
what happens with the cold plate itself is usually just for the GPU. At least on these reference designs. Oops, I hit the. At least on these reference designs, it's usually only supposed to cover the GPU.
Okay.
There are aftermarket coolers, especially water coolers, that will expand it out. So in this case, it could be that they're trying to push the G6X, which is what they call it, and I'll call it that because saying GDDR6X is...
I would much rather say G6X.
Yes.
That's way better.
They call it G6X, and they're probably going to try and push it harder than they have before. And the problem with that is that, famously, for the RTX 3090, the G6X got to like 105 degrees. Which is ridiculous. Now, it is within spec for the memory. The memory can do, I think, up to 120 or something like that.
What's the top kind of temperature range that you would want your GPU to be at?
I would want the maximum sensor to be at like 80.
Oh, okay.
Like personally, that would be my...
It's been a while since I did a graphics card review and did temperature testing, Yeah,
well, I mean...
I actually did do that at NCIX.
We could get you to do it again.
They were not good videos. I mean, I had nothing. I should not have been doing that at the time, but there was no other option. Anyways, they were seeing temperatures of 105 degrees.
Yeah, which is absurd.
So you're going to burn down your house.
Yeah, well, maybe not. But like, if something blew up, then I don't know. It wouldn't be good for your 1,000 plus. 3090 is a $1,500 GPU.
To go back to the architecture and Lovelace being an Ampere refresh and stuff, you were saying that you thought that change was coming about because of the crypto situation, but the PC, and I mean maybe that's right. I have no idea, but the PC Gamer article that I had brought up was saying that the reason that they kind of switched tacks and decided to make Lovelace a more powerful architecture is because they were scared of RDNA 3.
I mean, it could be a little column A, a little column B.
Right. That information was also coming from Kopite 7Kimi, but...
Yeah. So I think that if they're concerned about RDNA 3, that might have been like what got them started on this road. I think the crypto crash might be what got them to push it up to July.
But now, another tweet by Kopite has said that they're disappointed with RDNA 3. Which makes me disappointed in turn.
Well, I mean, we don't have as many leaks for RDNA 3 as far as I know. I looked it up a little bit. Video Cards has a little bit of a table of all the stuff that has been leaked.
Right.
I don't think it's a huge amount of information we can really talk too much about because it's like talking about caches and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit too far in the weeds, I think, for like a TalkLinked.
I don't want to go in the weeds. I mean, we're making a whole video basically about leaks and rumors right now.
Yeah.
But it's fun. And I feel like the GPU scene is getting more interesting than it's ever been in a while. Especially because it's like, well, I mean, you've been getting out every time there's a GPU release, you get it in, you get to play with it, and you do a review, and that's nice. Yeah. But for everyone else out there, there are the people who have like battled with scalpers and battled with Best Buy's $200 membership program to
I don't get to take these GPUs home. I've got an RTX 2080 Super at home.
I mean, that would be the cherry on top.
It would be.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of people who have been sitting, waiting, biding their time for the release of a GPU that actually makes sense to buy and that they can buy for a reasonable amount of money. And now that the MSRP is coming down and we're about to get new generations of GPUs from Intel for sure, maybe Nvidia in July, it's an exciting time.
It is an exciting time, but I don't know that many people will be too excited to upgrade to an RTX 40 series GPU.
No.
And the reason I say that is not because of I think the performance is going to be bad. It might be iterative. It might not be. It supposedly is going to be twice as good as last gen. But the power consumption, it's just sky high.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least it's not 600 watts. That's what some of the leaks were saying.
The 4090 Ti is rumored to be 600 watts.
Okay.
The 4090 is 450, which is the same as the 3090 Ti. That's why people were saying the 3090 Ti is a trial run for the 4090.
Like what in terms of a trial run? In terms of like, can it work technically, or like what will people think of it?
Can we deliver this kind of power? Is it going to be stable? That kind of thing.
Right.
And also, gauge. What do people think of it?
Will people get mad at us if
people get mad at us if they need a new circuit in their house to run their GPU?
Take all the power in their power supply for ourselves?
Like, I don't think I could run that at home. Like, the RTX 3090 is already a stretch. Like, I turn it on and the lights dim when I'm like working at home. Trying to do benchmarks and stuff.
But this wouldn't be the first time that we've had GPUs powered by like an extra plug you just like plug in the socket, right? That's happened before. Were you telling me that?
That is a thing that happened before. You can get like a power supply that you can slot into a PCI Express, not really the slot, but into the place where it goes.
Right.
And then you'd plug into power there, and you'd plug it into the wall, and then you'd get power to plug in your GPU or whatever.
So you'd have two power cords coming from your PC.
Yes. Those have existed. They weren't common. They weren't popular, but they existed for people who were like super on the high end or had a GPU that was just slightly too powerful for their power supply.
Right.
Maybe they had an SFX power supply and they couldn't get any more wattage out of it, but they had an extra slot for some reason. I don't quite get why they existed.
What do you mean? So you could have the best performance and beat all your friends.
I guess it was in the pre-kilowatt era for power supplies.
Frames win games, Anthony.
Frames win games.
Did you forget?
No, well, I mean, frames win games, but you used to be able to turn the resolution down without it turning into a blurry mess.
Wait, what? Now you can do that.
Well, now with
people are running at like 1440p, 4K, 1080p upscaled.
Yeah,
you can go down to 40p and use DLSS or whatever. I don't forget.
Well, now we can do that.
Yeah.
But until DLSS happened, and from the time that CRTs were obsoleted,
right,
we didn't have a way to do that. You changed the resolution, and it blurred the crap out of the image. Doesn't matter what you did.
But now, I guess you're saying that now we have all these scaling options. So what is the point of a GPU that can actually output, 600 frames a second or something stupid?
Well, I mean, 600 frames per second isn't stupid.
Well,
I mean, for a game, it kind of is.
It's kind of stupid, yeah.
But for a display, it actually divides evenly into every common frame rate.
600?
600.
Okay, I just picked that number. That's not a real number. I just made that
it
number
is a real number. It's the perfect...
600 is not a real number. Never use 600. Never write it down.
600 is the perfect refresh rate. It divides evenly into 60.
Okay.
It divides evenly into 50.
All right, 480.
It divides evenly into 30.
Let's say 480.
It divides evenly into 24.
Anthony.
There is no judder, no matter what content you're running on that display. You have to get a 600. Once 600 hertz monitors come out, we will not need any faster monitors.
So what you're telling me is, as soon as the 490 Ti comes out, you're going to be first in line.
Well, no, because I run Linux.
Okay. Oh, man. Okay. But let's say this GPU can push. I mean, there are 480 hertz monitors right now and being developed by LG and AUO, and I feel like we're setting up for them to come out probably next year at some point. They're showing off prototypes at conferences right now. So we got 480 hertz monitors on the way in a situation where we have GPUs that are capable of pushing that stuff, and we have the capability to scale things. You can run things on a low-end GPU right now and just use a bunch of scaling, and it seems decent.
Yeah.
So that's what you're saying. Why do we need the big giant ones?
We're heading in the wrong direction. I feel like the big bad GPUs are just getting bigger and better for the sake of being bigger and better.
Yeah. Who's gonna buy them? Most people just want a regular mid-range. Why can't we get like a good solid mid-range?
Well, I mean, you could argue that we got that with the 3080. But the 3080 was never basically you could never buy it for the launch price of, I think it was supposed to be $600.
Okay.
Which, I mean, mid-range for $600 sounds weird, but inflation's a thing, so.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Oh man, can you that's going to be a whole thing because inflation is happening right now, way bigger than it was a few years ago. We're going to get these affordable quote unquote used GPUs on the market. Yeah. But I mean, hopefully there's going to be enough of them to kind of bring the price down to something reasonable.
It's getting pretty close.
Right.
And I go into Memory Express and I see GPUs lining the shelves and I'm like, oh, nature is healing.
Brilliant.
But the prices are still high, and they're going to remain high for a number of reasons we talked about on LTT before. But primarily in this case, I think inflation has gotten to a point where they're going to have to bump the prices again. So I don't know, maybe we see an 80 series for $800.
So in terms of the graphics card market right now, this is the picture we have right now. We got Intel promising that their Arc desktop cards were going to come and disrupt the market in Q2.
Eventually.
And we have the mobile only launched in Korea. We have the desktop cards launching soon, I guess, in China.
TM.
But then only getting to the rest of the world maybe in the fall. We got AMD. Do you know anything about... I haven't seen many predictions about when the next... Because AMD just launched the 6950, 6750, 6650 XTs. Which is a refresh of the 6000 series. Do you know anything? I mean, I'm not asking if you know, but have you heard anything about when the next AMD series is coming?
I haven't really heard much. I think the rumor suggests that RDNA 3 will probably be somewhere in Q3.
Oh.
Sometime this year.
Oh, we are getting them this year.
Probably. I don't... Now, see... I think that AMD has come out and said that they're not going to be this year.
Again, this is all speculation. We don't know. It is kind of annoying, actually. They'll be like, oh, hey, by the way, we're launching a GPU in 1 week.
Yeah, I have 2 weeks at best notice to figure out what my plan of attack is going to be. Official details on speculations and specifications release date should be available middle of 2022. Suggest that Zen 4 and RDNA 3 will be released simultaneously in Q4 of 2022. That's what GPU Mag says. I don't really know.
Okay, so we may be fine to expect new AMD GPUs this year as well. And then we got potentially the RTX 40 series coming in July.
I mean, a year or two, the great GPU shortage of forever, it feels like.
For the pandemic GPU shortage. What are we going to call it? We'll call it the dark times.
The dark times.
Before the Empire.
It's 2.0 because it's the second major time that it's happened.
Right. The first was the Dark Ages.
Yes.
Yeah. And now this one's
the Dark Ages.
Yeah. They had no GPUs back then at all.
Now it's the dark times.
Yeah. It was so dark they couldn't even play any games.
They couldn't trace any rays.
But it'll be over, and we'll look back on these times and laugh, is what you're saying.
Hopefully, at least in the next year or so. I don't know. There could be more. The chip shortage isn't totally over, but the GPU shortage seems to be...
That's true.
On its way out.
Well, I believe that that's the end of this episode of TalkLinked.
TalkLinked.
It's back. We're gonna be trying to do these at least once a month on Tuesdays, on some Tuesday in a month. That's not really giving you much of a heads up. But if you liked this, subscribe. What do you? I don't even do any of this on TechLinked normally, so I don't even know how to end a TalkLinked anymore.
You just do your standard. You thumbs up, like or dislike if you didn't like it. Get subscribed so you don't miss future videos like the tech news that happens every Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah, it only happens
Friday.
On those days.
Those days are the only days the tech news happens.
Yep.
And maybe comment down below with more tech news that you might have that we missed.
Anthony, you're killing this outro, dude.
Well, I mean, it's the standard outro.
Nice job.
Wow. Once you become a host, you kind of learn these things.
You're a professional. You're a professional host.
Professional. Wow, that's actually.
You're my favorite host, actually.
Wow. Well, thank you. I'm not my favorite host, but
Anthony, come on. You're my favorite. You're my favorite host.
You're my favorite host.
Okay, bye-bye.
You're my favorite host.